Kia ora, it's Dr. Alexander Stevens II. This Upper Marae podcast is rated R and is intended for mature audiences only. This episode includes strong language, adult themes, and frank discussions that are not suitable for children or sensitive listeners. Listener discretion is advised, and support information will be provided at the end of the podcast and on YouTube, and you can also access it on our standingtallnz.org website. Kia ora.
We're going up, up, up to the upper Marae, where stories lift and voices fly. Put your tea towels down, let your worries fade. Open the gates, let the memories cascade. In this podcast world, we give it our best. So grab your cup or come say I know Jess. We're going up to the upper Marae, where conversations flow and spirits can't lie.
No mai haere mai, and welcome to the Upper Marae. I'm one of your co-hosts, Dr. Alexander Stevens II. Welcome to our podcast. In today's follow-up session, we're still continuing focusing on the theme of self-care and looking after ourselves. I've got our co-host, Sione Finau, who has still been unwell, so malo lele,
Malo.
fefe hake,
Say there.
really?
Oh, we're getting better.
Yeah.
Getting better.
So, just acknowledging, Sione, that you haven't been feeling well. So, one of the things that we spoke about in our last podcast was how do we look after ourselves?
Yeah.
And we're just waiting for you to join us, and then we can all...
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I still
Participate.
haven't been in the podcast with everyone together.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
but we don't leave anyone behind.
Nice.
And actually, I thought it would be a good conversation between me and you as your former mentor, but also within a drug and alcohol sense, looking at how do we support our young drug and alcohol clinicians that are in the field, because we know that in New Zealand, the rates of retaining them are quite low.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking, how do we talk a little bit about that? I'm wanting to talk about self-care, not as something indulgent, not as something extra, but as something that's essential to your own well-being in everyday life. So combining our expertise within mental health and addictions, let's see how we go
Yeah.
for a kōrero. Well, look, let's start off with a nice, easy question. What does self-care actually mean for people we support in everyday lives?
Yeah, that's a very interesting question. Through the lens of like our kind of work that we do.
Yeah.
Um,
So without breaching, confidentiality, give us an idea about some of the environments that you work in before diving into what does self-care mean for the people that
the
you serve.
environment that I work in.
Yeah.
Ooh. Well, I would say it's quite chaotic where I work.
Right.
Short-term stay.
Okay.
So we get a lot of people rolling in and out.
Yeah.
So you can never guarantee what we're getting or who walks through
Right.
our doors. And they come through complex backgrounds.
Yes.
Not all of them, but most of them that come around. What else? And I guess through our work with those who use drugs,
Mm-hmm.
it's interesting what self-care looks like for them,
Right.
right?
Because
Because they have the freedom to do what they want. They
Mhm.
have rights of their own.
sure they do.
They're welcome to exercise what they like to do behind closed doors. And it's such an interesting question when we know that sometimes certain drugs
Mm.
cannot really be helpful to them,
Mhm.
but it's something that they do either recreationally
Right.
or quite time and time again. So it is quite an interesting space where I kind of work when kind of supporting those with self-care.
Yes.
Um,
What does it look like for you as a clinician? Because you're now fully registered. Well done. What does that look like in terms of self-care for them in your role in that?
I guess exploring what they're willing to make changes in.
Mm-hmm.
Like at least getting an understanding of what they're taking. Sometimes many of the people I work with have no full understanding of what they're taking, and I think the things we discuss is like, what are the risks?
Right.
Um, what are the outcomes of the decisions they choose to make? And if this is what they make, then these are the risks they have to understand. If they do get into trouble, this is where they can go. So at least we kind of look at what somewhat solutions we can look at.
Yeah.
If their self care isn't, well, like we can't force what we believe self care is on them. If they feel like this is what self care looks like to them, then so be it.
Right.
But moving forward as they grow, like sometimes adults, because I work with adults as well.
Mm-hmm.
And some of the adults, as they're older, they kind of come to a point in their lives where they're just like, I wish I listened to this. I wish I did listen to this. It's like a revolving door moment when they're like, I wish I could have listened to this. But I think for me, working with younger people, it's kind of setting them up for if that position in life comes.
Yes.
Like, oh, okay, they've made mistakes in their younger lives, but they know where to go for solutions. So self care is such an interesting thing, and it's like it's you either are doing it now or you're doing it later.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's like a spectrum thing.
Yeah, go on.
Yeah, like this is where this person's self care is at the moment. Where could it be in 5, 7 years,
Yes.
10 years time?
So thinking about your own self care. So you're talking about a broad range of people with complex needs.
Yeah.
You have how many on the books for yourself at the moment?
Oh, so I just closed. I think I just closed 7 cases today.
Hey, well done.
But I still have a lot more.
When did you acquire this luxury of closing down cases? I haven't closed down a case in a while myself.
Because also, again, short turnaround in that.
Yeah.
And then unfortunately, there are rules in play with some of the services, I reckon. And if they're not followed, then unfortunately they get exited.
Right.
I still kind of support them through an extended lens where I just kind of ask questions like, are you still interested in receiving support on AEDs at work? Or have goals around AED? If yes, then okay, I'll hear some recommendations.
Right.
Some places where to go. If not, hey, cool, that's fine. If you ever need support, you can ring this number.
I mean, that's a great.
And then I just close it.
Right. So that's a great deflection, but it doesn't answer the question about self care.
Oh, we were talking about exit.
No, we're talking about your self care.
Yeah.
So to put things into context, you're 26 this year.
Yeah, turning 26.
Right, so you're old. So what? Congratulations.
I'm 25 years from 50. Oh wow. Oh man.
So one of the things I'm thinking about is that we know that our, like I said, our young practitioners from say early 20s to late 20s, they don't tend to stay in the field for too long, a couple of years at that, and then they leave. So you've described, as I said before, complex clients with complex needs. The first thing that's coming to my mind is, what are some of the self-care strategies, if any, that you're implementing at the moment?
I think for me, like learning,
yes,
is a bit of self care for me.
Hey, you're talking to the most qualified Māori academic
I think that came from you as well.
Really?
Continued learning, yeah. You said it yourself, where learning was self care for you.
It's true that episode. Well, our first episode
was it?
Yeah, I can't remember. Like 2 or 3, something like that.
Wait, the series or like our
other series?
Oh yeah. So that's where that came around. So I still like reading that. Physical activity as well. Oh, and like a bit of eating as well. I do try and have like fruit and water as well. Like kind of staying hydrated is my main thing, and getting some electrolytes in. I think the next thing I'm looking at is supplements.
Right.
For me, and I'm kind of looking more towards creatine. Hitting the pools in it. I do the hot and cold with the sauna.
I love, personally, I'm loving hot and cold therapy in the shower.
Oh, nice.
Just for my muscles. Nice. I've got a bit of, bit of a frozen shoulder, so I'm finding that hot and cold therapy is working quite well.
Yeah, I'm loving the sauna and then the cold pool plunge. And like, yeah.
In what way is your approach reflecting one of our core values as DAPAN's practitioners around pono or integrity?
In terms of self-care.
Yes.
Um,
So when we think of the word pono, it could mean true, valid, honest, genuine,
yeah.
sincere.
In terms of self-care, I would have to say finishing work on time.
Let's go. I've got a few thoughts on that. Go.
Because I think when I first started in my career, I used to finish so late because some of the clients were so complex. I remember taking on client from the Auckland hospital, taking them to the Waitakere hospital.
Right.
And it was like 7 p.m. is the time I left that hospital just because it was so complex. Came back, signed out 7:30, and I was like, shucks, I almost did a 12-hour shift at work that day.
Do you remember the conversation that we had afterwards?
I can't remember. What did we have?
So you were debriefing with me. You asked if I was awake, and I went, yes. So for contact listeners, Sione is one of my supervisees as part of DAPAN, so the Drug and Alcohol Practitioners Association. So we have what we call monthly supervision.
Yeah, twice a month?
Yeah.
Twice a month. Yeah.
So one of the things that you rang me and you wanted to have a chat, and I realised it's like 10 o'clock at night, I think.
Yeah.
And I remember thinking, you've never rung me that late before, so I'll make an exception.
Yeah.
And you had told me that you were still finishing off your client notes for the day, so you had taken your guy to hospital.
Yeah.
And you still had notes to
Oh,
write.
yeah, that's right. I had to, I stayed back.
And I remember feeling both concerned but caring for you at the same time, which is this idea of integrity. So what I said to you was, finish your notes, but negotiate having time off either the next day or sometime next week with your employer, right? And I also said to you, don't ever do this.
Yeah, nah. I think when I became fully registered, it's very rare for me to finish after my finishing time.
Yes.
But it would never extend beyond 30 minutes.
Right.
After my normal finishing time. So I make sure I always finish on time.
Yes. Look, I'm going to say something that might be a little bit controversial, and it's not aimed at any organisation. My feelings are very clear. Once you finish, say it's 5 p.m., that's often within New Zealand. Yeah. You finish at 5.
Yeah. Yeah.
You don't get paid any more time after 5 o'clock. And your well-being is everything, right? So if your well-being is out of whack, it's going to affect you, your loved ones, your family, community, and your work.
It does.
Conversely, I know other practitioners within our realms that will see it through and work maybe 5:30 or 6, but that's an hour that you're not getting paid.
Yeah.
Right? So for me, it's very clear. When I used to work at the hospitals, Middlemore Hospital has one of those guards, that go up and down to stop people driving through and leaving without paying.
Yeah.
As soon as that, what would you call it? I call it a guard. What do you call it?
I guess I'd call it the same. I've never called it anything. I just called it
the annoying thing that stops you from leaving for free. The barrier arm. Actually, I think it's called I call it a guard, but it's also called a barrier arm. Yeah. Once I went past the barrier arm and the barrier arm went down, that was it.
Yeah.
I was done.
Yeah.
And someone was running behind me, and that had happened a few times. Out, with my hand out the window.
Yeah.
See ya, beep beep. These are some of the values that I'm wanting to teach you to keep you in the field. So given that, how does pono or integrity reflect your own practice around self-care?
Yeah, there's that. Finishing on time. I know for me, wow, because it is hot. And in some of the places, I guess where I work, we don't really have an aircon.
Right.
And
oh dear.
Sometimes the office just get really humid and really hot and sweaty. I'm like, I can't write in this. I can't work in this.
Right.
And then I just head off to the closest place that has decent aircon. I just work.
Right.
Yes.
So how do you keep your side note? Ben, how do you keep all your stuff confidential and safe?
With the
If you're doing notes, for example,
yeah,
we've gone from a podcast interview to now clinical supervision session. But how are you keeping all that data protected?
the work laptop. I've only used the work laptop to write notes.
Right, and so what, you're positioning yourself in a way that no one can see?
Yeah, exactly. No cameras or anything like that.
Right. Which is a nice lead on to around skillfulness. So committing to skillful and lawful practice. In what way is it a skill for you to learn about looking after yourself, Sione?
Yes, because it does flow on with the clients you work with.
Yes.
It does get noticed. Clients can actually tell when you're off your game.
Yes. Can you think of an example that applied to you or someone else?
No, it actually applied to one of the social workers I worked with.
So again, without going into too much detail,
yeah.
what happened?
So one of the adults I supported, because it's a different team.
Sure.
They have their own like social workers in that, and we kind of work together to make a home visit.
Mm-hmm.
But the client, so I've actually just been focusing on the client, but what I didn't realize is I think how stressed the social worker was, and the client could pick it easy.
Right.
And the reason why is she actually asked up front, "Hey, are you all right? You seem on edge. Have you been having enough rest?" And I was like, "Oh," and I didn't think. I was like, we've come here to speak to a client, but now it's interesting that a client is asking like a health and well-being question toward us. And I think once we caught up, bear in mind we supported another client who unfortunately passed away.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I talked to you about this. It definitely made some impacts on me, so I definitely had to take a break. But I'm not too sure how he took it or how he is. Yeah. And plus he's full on taking on other adults as well.
Right.
There's some crises that he's been intervening with, and I'm thinking about it now. I don't know if he's actually been looking after himself.
Yeah.
As well. And it's like, well, for the client to pick it up.
Yes.
It's so interesting. But yeah, it does flow on and people can tell if you're off your game.
So I've been practicing now for well over 20 years, but not long and not 25. So basically, not the age of you right now. So almost though, almost. I would say I've lost maybe four clients through acts of suicide. And to be fair, Sione, there is no course that helps you to prepare for this.
We've done the Levar ones.
Yeah, so for context, people, Sione and I have done extensive training around suicide prevention as part of our own practice, above and beyond what's required. There is nothing that will prepare you for that, regardless if it's suicide, if it's, they fell asleep or whatever, they've had an accident. And so there's no training, but the one thing that I've learned from my own previous mentor and dear friend, Dr. Helen Warren, is the ability to really ensure that you're taking time for yourself, that you're telling your employer you are being affected. Sometimes I feel like not all organizations are kind of like, we just need to carry on.
Yeah.
And I get it. There are other clients. Yeah. There are other things that have to happen. As Tupac said, life goes on, right? However, this is me showing my street credentials, Sione. However, there's still a person. That's still someone's family member, someone's son, someone's so on and so forth. So, within our own profession, we're asked to reflect. And what I've learned is that we need to support our young clinicians, our young practitioners dealing with this, because as you've experienced twice, without going into huge details, you've experienced 2 clients over 3 years that have passed away.
Yes.
And on both counts, one of the best things I think you've done is to bring it back to supervision.
Yeah.
And have that conversation.
Yeah.
Rather than carry it.
Mm.
When I worked at, and this is just a shout out to Lifeline, when I worked at Lifeline, I had really good supervision from people. So some of the calls might have ranged from just general loneliness. And I can remember, this is about self-care, I can remember there was a guy that was standing on the train tracks and I could hear the train coming. Now, can I say to you, he lived.
Oh, okay, cool.
So I was quickly doing every skill that I could to get him off that train track. And I remember that person said to me, give me one reason why I shouldn't do this. And I was like, look, if this conversation has meant anything to you, I need you to take a step off. And then I heard this train go by.
Yeah.
And then I went quiet. It's like, are you still there? And I was, the moment's the only time I wasn't professional. I said, you dick. Are you all right? I lost my professionalism. I was like, where are you? And then I called the cops because we were trying to find out his exact location.
Yeah.
Thankfully, the police came. But I remember my own supervisor at the time, because we had to re-listen to the recording because it's about training and observation.
Right.
So she said to me, what's one area of improvement that you could have done? And honestly, she picked up, you shouldn't have called your client or the person a dick.
Oh, yeah.
And I said, I'm only human.
Yeah.
I faced all kinds of challenges.
But this is just new.
This
is a high new level. Yeah.
And I said, I hope I never do that again. But I took a week off.
Oh, right.
Not because they recommended it. I just decided I'm taking a week off. It really
That's actually important.
Yeah.
Taking a break.
Yeah. And so I never knew more than what had happened because I tried to find out, where did they go, but I wasn't privy to that information. And part of me, I guess I want to closure, but I recognized that wasn't going to happen.
Also, no one can train you.
Yes, in that moment.
No pun intended, but no one can train you for that.
Oh, Sione.
Anyways,
if you went unwell right now, I'd throw you out of my house.
When we're both unwell, that's when we kind of laugh hysterically.
You're on track. That's what you are. You are on track. Damn, Sione, that went dark fast. And I'm not editing this out. But actually, people, this is a good point, though, is that dark humor.
That is probably the best.
Some people will be like, I can't believe that you're... And this isn't any disrespect to people that might have, but actually, have hurt themselves. Of course not. But dark humor is a coping mechanism for some of the stuff that we see and experience. Yeah. And can I just say that joke that you did, was that intentional?
No, it wasn't. I just made the connection after.
Right, I was like, right. Can I just say, people, at time of recording, it's almost 11 o'clock at night. I think Sione is tired. I'm unimpressed, but we're going to soldier on.
But let me briefly touch on why breaks are actually important. You know how you took a week off? So I think the difference between my first one and the second one, I think the lesson I took out of that one was taking a break. Sometimes just taking time off work is probably the best thing for you. Just what is it? Help ground yourself, I guess. Help just feel. And I think that's the lesson I took when I get like kind of those. Well, this is no easy thing to become.
No, it's not.
And I think for the social worker that I talked about, I think he might have not taken a break like I did. Yes. I think for me, because I was sick, that was my break.
Well, that's right. And I guess this is why we're doing a follow-up of the self-care podcast with Nigel, Irie, and myself, is because I've recognised that you got one initial sickness.
Yeah.
# food poisoning. And then... And then in the other podcast, I said that, my little delusional friend. Oh my goodness. One of the things I said in the previous podcast is that you don't have swine flu.
Is it horse flu?
You got horse flu. And And if people are wondering what does this mean, because Sione identifies as Dongan and his character in the Upper Marae is a horse. So, whereas I'm the Neru, I'm the cat. And so I thought, actually, we know that when you're unwell, your immune system is already straining and struggling. So it's quite common to pick up a secondary sickness. But and then I became worried to make sure that this doesn't impact on you, that it has to, you know. So when we're thinking about, having a practice that's authentic to what we're saying to our clients, in what way does this align with what you're doing currently, or does it need to be adapted and changed?
I think it always needs to be adapted and changed. I think the only thing that's constant is change. Or did I butcher that phrase that you normally say?
No, you didn't butcher it this time.
But yeah, I think it's I think it's always good. Oh, I think self-care is always changing for us.
Yes.
Just because like the environment we work in is just never the same.
Mm-hmm.
Sure, we see the same things, but
Yeah,
never. Yeah. So,
well, let me ask, and this is a nice follow-up question to what you're saying. How can organizations create environments that support self-care rather than undermine it?
I think there's different ways of looking at it. I think the way I will take this is external supervision.
Right.
Getting outside services. Let's maybe have a look at this. Not everyone you go to might have like a great solution or some great advice or great suggestions. And I think that's why I kind of comment on external supervision, because I think when things are challenging, I kind of come to you.
Yes.
Most times during our supervision and just kind of ask for direction on that. Not to say like workplace can't do it, but just realizing that there's certain things that they can share and suggest. Whereas external supervision, there's things outside of work that they can offer and suggest. Yeah. It's just thinking outside the box.
Right. What do you think culturally appropriate approaches should we consider when talking about self-care with our clients? So in the previous one, we spoke about what happens if we have clients with odor issues? What happens if we have clients with... I'm not talking about a messy bedroom. I'm talking about...
Oh, yes, the smell?
Yeah,
Oh,
an absolute... You and I have seen, in our different practices, we've seen rooms where there's mess, there's feces, it's all that kind of thing. So, what kind of culturally appropriate approaches should we consider when talking about self-care with our clients?
I think I kind of being upfront but respectful. I always just tell them, hey, I just want you to know I'm just being respectful. Or if I worked with them a long time, I just, hey, I just want you to know, like, at any point have I ever been disrespectful to you? And then hopefully they say no, because I always ensure practice is always respectful.
Right.
And then I add the follow-up question, hey, I want you to know that you kind of smell. And then we kind of go on with the conversation. And sometimes it could either be like they don't wash their clothes.
Right.
Don't shower, and then kind of follow on questions with that. How can we work on it together? They provide suggestions. With this recent client that I have, I've had two instances where we kind of had that conversations around smell. The first one was because he just doesn't wash his clothes. Right. But it's interesting. He did kind of still smell, but it wasn't the same as the first time. And then in the second time, I go, hey, this is the second time we've had this conversation. Like, what's going on? Are you washing your clothes? And he goes, yes, he is, but what he's using is dishwashing liquid. So he doesn't have the proper thing. Right. So I think next thing we do is kind of understanding how do we actually wash his clothes. Because bear in mind, I work with like people who homeless, challenging backgrounds.
Financial capability issues?
Oh, definitely, right. Yeah. For most of them, yes.
Yes.
But then again, with complexities in that.
Sure.
My work as an addictions practitioner, like how do you even have those conversations? Which ones goes first? What's the actual?
Yep.
There's actually just no framework other than the Te Amara model.
Yes.
But no structure really. So I just have to be kind of fluid how I practice things,
Right.
and then try and manage it.
How do we talk about self-care with people who feel overwhelmed or disengaged?
Overwhelmed. We got to stop whatever they're doing. They're overstimulated. We just need to kind of bring levels down.
Yes.
Disengaged, it means they're not stimulated enough. How do we get them up?
Good observation.
There's a bit of a sweet spot that just needs to be hit.
Mm.
Everyone is different. And yeah, I guess that's the answer to that one. And that's when you can discuss self-care. There's no point if they're not in the right space.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You're a lot kinder than I am.
What would
Back
you
in my day, you're like, right, up, shower, bath, now. This was the practitioners, including myself and the nurses.
Right. Was your time when it was okay to give clients cigarettes?
Let me be very
Was that before
clear.
your time?
I never did this.
No, yeah.
I was of the generation we were at where I made changes.
Yeah.
Where we said we don't give cigarettes to clients.
Yeah.
Because actually it's a power and control thing.
Yeah.
People would use it as a way of motivating them, or if you don't do this, you're not going to get your cigarette. I don't like power. I don't care whether it's cigarettes or whatever.
Mental health and doctors and nurses used to do that.
Used to.
Yeah.
You hope it's still not now. Used to. But in my mind, it was wrong.
Yeah.
It's a good observation. Completely non-related to self-care.
Oh, yes.
Listen, I guess, part of our own supervision, and I'd like to do it with this podcast, is what are 3 things, I guess, you've kind of learned from doing this particular podcast about your own self-care, and what are 3 recommendations that you might make to people that are listening?
3 things. Man, this is like completely different to your previous podcast episode with Nigel and I didn't expect it to be this way. The second one would be, I think thinking about it now, I should probably check up on their social worker. I think for me in my workplace, like, yeah, self-care, but then also as like practitioners, sometimes we also need to check on our neighbors as well. Checking out on the second episode. The third episode is self-care just looks different. It's not like the common stuff that we talk about. There's other uncommon things that haven't been mentioned, but is also important to be mentioned.
Yes.
I think we just need to remember that as well.
Yeah.
What's your 3? And then I think about my 3.
About your recommendations. Here's the 3 things I've recognized having listened to you. Is that external supervision, more so than internal supervision, is absolutely crucial.
Agreed.
To keep our young practitioners like yourself well.
100%.
First and foremost. The second thing that I've really taken away as a key message for me is the environments that we're in can shape and influence our own well-being. And so, thinking about what I said before around our practitioners leaving, only having served in the community for a couple of years, makes me think, are we having environments, if our environments aren't conducive for our young practitioners to thrive, then what does that mean for the clients that we're supposed to be serving?
Just to add on that,
please.
When we went to the DAPANS event, there was a time when I was just walking around. I saw the outcomes of the research DAPANS did,
right, from
like the addictions community.
Okay.
And what they've asked for in years have changed over time.
Right.
So what I've from my perspective is we actually don't do it for the money, which is interesting. We actually do it for to help the community. From what I've seen in the research.
Right.
Well, one of the main reasons why practitioners are finding the sector challenging is they're not finding workplaces really supportive, which kind of adds on to what you're saying.
Yes.
So I think for the listeners to definitely have a read of that DAPAN's report, because it's there.
Okay.
I mean,
well, if you could send me a link,
yeah.
we could put it up. And if we don't, that's on you, Sione.
Yeah, I'm like gonna look at it. I'm like, oh, wait a minute. I must have been looking at another report.
And I guess going in line with it, and I have spoken to you about this, no organization is perfect.
No, yeah.
Every organization has pros and cons, ups and downs.
Yeah.
The choice that you have is how much of it do you tolerate? Sometimes when people kind of be there, whether it's 2 years or 20 years, at some point when you start to lose your passion, you start to lose your focus. I know that there are financial reasons that some people stay, but this is when you start to need to consider, around your own self-care. How long do you see yourself doing this? This is why I branched out in different areas.
Right.
So mental health and addictions, I can hands on heart say, done this for over 20 years. Yeah. And yet, I'm also mindful that this takes a huge toll. This is where these kind of podcasts come in. This is why I enjoy being an academic at #AUT at South Campus, because I love teaching the next generation of practitioners how do you keep yourself safer. It's another reason, which is what you've said, that I study, because study is my own form of self-care. So I've recognised that. My last observation before I go back to you is how do I keep the next generation of practitioners, which is you, Irie, as he works his way up. How do I keep you as safe as possible without being too mothering, or mothering?
I think that's a.
How do we balance those things?
That's a question that's been asked for ages, and I don't think we have it figured out yet.
No. Or the donuts that you get, though.
They don't know.
With a nice coffee in the morning, I'm sure helps you. But on a serious note, it's those small tokens of affection that I think help get you through. So given that, what are your 3 recommendations for self-care for people that are listening?
Actually understand yourself. When are you okay? When are you not okay? How do you tell the difference?
Yes.
I guess the second one, if you're not okay, what are things that are helpful for you? That's physical activity, that's being with friends, that's music. Kind of understand those things. Just so when you are not when you're in a space where you're not yourself, this is what you do. And then the third one is finish work on time.
No.
Don't do no overtime.
Well
done. Find a life. There's stuff outside of work. Let's not leave work to be your whole identity and your culture. Find something to do.
So then I'll pick up on your last one. And I'll say, and I've said this in other podcasts, but I'll say it in this one. Go make friends outside of the sector that you work in.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you bring it home.
Yeah.
And you might talk about cases or patients, and no. One of the rules that you and I have, generally speaking, is that we talk about other things.
Yeah.
When we're not formally working. So that's the first one. So make friends outside of the sector so that you're not bringing your work home. The second one is know your limits. When I talk about knowing your limits, what I mean is if you're going home and you feel overworked, your mind is racing, you're feeling upset, or mamai is the word that we use in Māori, this is the time to pause and reflect. Right? One of the things I spoke about in the previous podcast is, are you getting enough sleep? Are you getting enough food? Conversely, are you eating too much? These are all signs of unwellness. And honestly, Sione, the eating thing, I'm still working on. As I said before, I'm a portly fellow. I've managed to get my weight down from close to 200 kilos down to 137. And some days it's awesome, and other days it's a struggle. So when the unexpected happens, I have to be mindful that I sometimes might want to go into the fridge, avoid the celery and carrots, because where's the comfort in that? And aim for a cheesecake or something, So I've got to be mindful of my own responses. And the last one, from my perspective, it's just acknowledging the fact that we're not always going to get it right. Be kind to ourselves.
Mm.
We're not always going to get it right. We're not perfect. Well, most of us anyway. So, and that's okay.
Yeah.
Recently I was talking to a fellow practitioner who wasn't getting enough sleep, and I said to them, there's no shame in just closing your eyes for 10 minutes and setting your alarm, but just even closing your eyes and resting for 10 minutes can just be enough just to help take a little bit off. Can I also say without, sorry, we're slight diverting here. Yeah, just those small acts can be enough to get you through. So, I personally didn't realise that we were going to go down this way, but I'm glad that we did.
Yeah, same. Interesting where the wire takes us. Huh?
Very much where the Te Wā takes us. So given that, Sione, I hope that that this will be your last sickness for a while.
Yeah, I hope so.
And I'm looking forward to finally coming back into the fold.
Yeah.
With the rest of the boys. Thank you so much for your time. And that's us for today's session. The gates of the Upper Marae are now closing. Thank you again, Sione, for joining us. Malo e pito.
Malo.
Kia ora.